Welcome to the Kathleen Project, capturing Manchester's industrial past. The voices you will hear in this series will tell of their experience working in Manchester's 20th century garment industry. In this episode, Vina will tell of her time working as a piece worker and completing outdoor work in the 1960s and 70s. She was 15 when she started.
I started at a place called Dressyware at the Northumberland in Stretford. I worked there for about 2 or 3 months, all new to me, going on machines, and I was doing binding, where a machine does it for you. So it was aprons and bibs and anything that needed binding. So I stayed there, and my friend had already started work. She left to school in the December, and she went to another place called Walter Swin's. So she said, when we met at weekend, "How are you going on?" I said, "It's all right, a bit boring, I'm not really doing very much." So she said, "Come here." She said, "There's lots of perks." So off I went, and you could just walk in and out of jobs. So this was a big factory with about 20, 30 girls in it. And then there was another department where they did the cutting out, another department where they did the ironing, and another one where they did the finishing. But we was in the machining plant.
And where was Walter Swin's located?
It was in Charles Street, Manchester. Stayed there for about 2 or 3 years, and then Charles Street was being redeveloped. So the whole lock, stock and barrel, we all went to Bellevue. So we all went there, all the staff, and what we were making was kilts. It was what you call piecework. So when you got a bundle of kilts, your name went on it, and you were put down in a book, and then once you'd finished it, you took it back and you got a tick. So what we did was we hemmed them, and then they were sent away to be pleated, permanent pleats. And when they came back, we put the waistband on and the little leather tag for the kilt. So we used to do that. But then you had a chance to do other machines. You could go on what we call a feller, which turns the hems up, or you could go on an overlocker or a buttonhole. So I learnt most of the machinery. And then I moved on. At the age of 20, I got married, met a young man, and then I moved over to the other side of town, in Newton Heath, and then I went to a factory there, which was Moscow's and Sons, working for Marks and Spencer's, and I did piecework there, but completely different piecework. One girl would do sleeves, one girl would do backs, one girl would do hems, one girl would do belts, When I was at Charles Street and at Bellevue, we were like in a row, and you chatted to each other and you were all friendly. This was really industrial. There was a conveyor belt between you. You were all in a row behind each other, and some on the other side, and you rang the buzzer and you said work's coming down, and what you'd finished you put on the conveyor belt, and then you put your hand up, and then she would send you some more. But again, if your work wasn't up to standard and everybody had put their bit in, your bit would come back and you would have to unpick. If it was really, really a lot of unpick, your colleagues would help you. But they were on piecework as well. So we had a forelady at the top who did your book, and you put down what you did throughout the week, and that's what you got paid.
And so did you get paid weekly?
Weekly. Not very much, probably about £10-15.
So what were you spending your money on?
Clothes. Yes, I used to go to the market then on a Tuesday and buy the material, cut it out on the Wednesday, sew it on the Thursday, and wore it on the Friday.
And were you going out and about on a weekend? Did you ever
clubbing it?
What sort of clubs were you going to?
The Broadway. Have you heard about it? The Broadway Lighties. Yeah. So I was clubbing it. So I made all my own clothes, which was hot pants, midi, maxis, blouses. But it was the bee's knees, it was cheap and cheerful. So my sewing machine at home was my best friend.
So what was it like being in the room working? Was it hot? Was it cold? Dusty?
All them. All them, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it was floorboards. No ventilation.
And were you on a ground floor, a first floor? Did you have any kind of view? Were you in a basement?
No view. No windows. It was an old mill. Did we go upstairs? Yes, I think we went upstairs because packing was down on the bottom. They had the works lift, but they had no. So the stairs was very, very tiny and wooden, and you had to clock in and clock out.
And was there any penalty if you were late?
Oh, definitely, yeah. got your pay not, yeah.
And so what was the gender split? Were you working mainly with women, or were there men there as well?
All women, yeah.
Okay.
And the men did the cutting out, and the ladies did the steaming, sewing, and the ironing and finishing. Ladies did the finishing.
Were people allowed to smoke at their machines?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you had a little tin by the side of your machine, but if you took a break, you lost money.
So you stayed at your
machine, yeah, till it was your time, and then you made a choice. You ate or you smoked. And you went out in the yard to eat and smoke.
Yeah. And was there much in the way of chat, or was there any music being played, or radio, or was it just the hum of the machine?
Radio, music, yeah. And then the girls would have a sing along, if it was anything. Right. I could remember one of them was it was the Carpenters, and I was singing along, and the forelady came along and said, "Just a minute while I finish this song."
And did everybody get on?
Yeah, no problems. Yeah. I don't remember any problems.
And what were the hours that you worked?
You worked 8 till 5.
And that was Monday to Friday?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
Just an hour dinner break, which was you were able to just go out and run to the market, get your material, any zip. Yeah, but no sewing on the premises. It was all, you had to get your head down.
So how long did you work at Moscow then?
I worked there. I was married at 20, divorced at 25, so I left for 5 years.
Did you have any children while you were married?
Not my first one, my second one I did. And wasn't able to go back to work, with having a young baby. So I heard, that there was outdoor work going somewhere around near me, so I went looking, and they did pencil cases. So you got the pencil cases, and all you had to do is, when I say that, sew round them and put the zip in. But the hardest part was turning them out. You only got paid for sewing each individual one. You didn't get paid for turning them out. So again, it was like 50 pence for 50, And then I tried for some blouses again. But with only having an ordinary machine, it wasn't the same as having an industrial. The same with the pencil cases. It didn't do very well. I enjoyed the middle bit one, where there was at Charles Street, and then we moved to Bellevue. Nice bunch of girls. We all sat facing each other, and we were young, very young, and these girls were just got married, so they would have a laugh and joke, and us being very naive, they would sort of quiz us into boys and things like that, these married ladies, So they were making us blush. So that was very, very friendly. And
yeah, but it sounds like you've had a good time.
I've had a very good time, yeah. No regrets at all, no.
Yeah.
I've been married to this chap now nearly 50 years, yes. Yeah. I've got 2 lovely grandchildren and a lovely, lovely son.
Yes.
If there was a fire, I'd take my husband and my sewing machine.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Kathleen Project. The project is brought to you by Stitched Up and supported by Historic England. For more information, please contact Stitched Up at hello@stitchedup.coop or on Instagram or Facebook @StitchedUpCoop.